Sophie, tell us about your most recent article that you've just written.
I decided to have a little look at how the summer signings are doing so far, as they've had a few months, and you think this is a good time to see how they're doing, especially as we've got new signings coming in. And I think, when you look at some of the bigger names as well, maybe they haven't gelled, but you got to look at players like Dali and Daly, who are doing so much for Villa. You've got to look at sort of the growth in Liverpool as well, with the signings of Corvisto and Flaherty. And I think what we're seeing more in terms of the signings from the summer is it's the sort of slightly off the radar names, or not the big blockbuster names, who have been impressive so far. And as we're going into another signing window now, and we've already got some moves happening, it sets up nicely for who could be the surprise packages, who could help their teams push for maybe top four, or sort of setting them up for into next season as well. So I tried to take a little look at that and not upset too many people along the way.
Okay, so this is a nice one then. You won't upset too many people with this. Who's been your standout of those signings?
I think Kenza Dali has been she just springs to mind. She's done a huge amount in that Aston Villa midfield. Just gets the team moving forward so well, and has paired so well with Rachel Daly, that she just, I think, just very underrated for all that she does. Even though we hate using the word underrated, she's done does a huge amount every game.
I want to just ask you as well, Sophie, what the future looks like for Geyoro, because I keep seeing her name coming up, and whether she can be poached from PSG. They're looking, she's a big target, obviously, in the transfer window, but what's going to happen there?
That's a very good question. She's PSG's captain as well, so they're not going to want to let her go. And she's such a key player for them. So I think, Chelsea is still very interested, because she's a fantastic midfielder, and Emma Hayes always loves adding players of just that caliber. But at the moment, she's got a deal with PSG. She's there. Maybe we'll see her move in the summer after completing the season. There's PSG now back in sort of the hunt for silverware in France as well, so she might not want to leave. But I think that there's interest from both sides, but might be one to wait out a little bit longer.
And just finally, just want to touch on the fact that we're always talking about the top clubs in the WSL. And we've heard these names come up already in the likes of Villa and Spurs. Are they looking to grow and to start competing with those top four?
Well, I think you have to, especially now that we've broadened out the Champions League a little. So now it's the top three in WSL who qualify. So it's that little bit more. Oh well, if it's not trying to break into the top two. It's you're finding a little bit more room, and you see Spurs signing Beth England to try and sort out their goal drought. You've got Villa, who are just building. I think even if you look at Brighton, what they're doing as well, there's a lot of investment off the pitch. There's a lot of big ideas there. The problem is always if every team moves up a step, everyone stays a step. You're not really gaining a huge amount of ground. So I think when you look at these teams, it's more a long-term investment. It's more about what they can do season on season, and maybe any stumbles at the teams above them, because we've seen like Man City haven't been too solid the last couple of seasons. Man United have a lot of potential, but are they going to stay the course? Because they wobbled a bit themselves. And as Tom said, Chelsea haven't been their very best selves this season either. So there's always room if you can find those good 90-minute performances week after week.
I think also those. Yeah, absolutely. And I think also those signings which Aston Villa have made, you've got the World Cup happening, in 7 months' time. You've got Jordan Nobbs, who's obviously looking to try and gatecrash that England squad, an incredibly talented midfielder. You've got Lucy Stammerforth, who hasn't played for England for a few years now. She was part of the 2019 group as well. So you're going to have a group of players, especially with Beth England, too, at Spurs, who are trying to force their way into the reckoning. And these sort of mid-season moves are fascinating. So those guys who might have been a bit more on the periphery are now playing every single game. Great news for Serena Vigman, great news for the WSL, but it will be interesting to see how sort of the balance of power shifts over the next 6 months, and also which teams can really prosper from this window and which teams may perhaps missed out.
Sophie, have you got any thoughts on how the season's going to play out then?
That's a tricky one. I think it's probably going to go a lot like they usually do. That some teams are going to go on great mazy runs and then drop points in places they probably shouldn't. But I think the current top 4 is probably going to end up being our final top 4. But it feels like a great season, sort of just for development and growth, especially with more eyes on the sport, and as we head into another tournament summer. I think it's going to get bigger and better, but I don't really see too much happening in terms of the current top 4.
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube. And for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN Plus.